Parashat Metzora contains the concept of taharat mishpacha, family purity. And this is a part of Judaism and Jewish law that many people are not familiar with. Even people who have a traditional upbringing, who know about kashrut, who know about Shabbat, who know about the festivals. But they don't necessarily know about this aspect of Judaism. Because this aspect of Judaism relates to the intimate relationship between husband and wife. Very briefly, from the time that a woman gets her period, a married woman, she and her husband are not allowed to engage in any type of intimate relationship until such time as she immerses in the mikveh. This is usually for about 12 days of the month. After she has immersed in the mikveh, they may resume their intimate relationship. To many people, this is absolutely bizarre. This is not some foreign woman. This is not some stranger. This is a person's wife. This is a person's husband. They're married to one another. And yet the Torah comes along and says they are not allowed to engage in sexual activity whenever they want. There is a time, there is a place, and there are certain times where they are off limits to one another. The reason why this is considered to be bizarre in our generation is because we live in such a sexualized society where all types of physical contact between people is perfectly okay, as long as they're two consenting adults. They could be married to other people. But if they consent to have that relationship, it's perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And certainly if they are married. And of course we're living in a generation of we have to be satisfied immediately. Instant gratification all of the time. Comes along the Torah and says no. Instant gratification is actually something that is negative. Because as the Talmud puts it, the sexual drive can never really be satisfied. And the more you try to satisfy it, the more voracious and the more hungry it becomes. And therefore the Torah says, take a step back and realize that you are not always in control. You cannot get whatever you want. There is a time to be intimate and there's a time not to be intimate. And more than that, the Talmud says an incredible thing. Why is it that a husband and wife have to separate every month? Why is it that a woman has to immerse in the mikveh and that they do not have an intimate relationship for almost half of the month? And the Talmud tells us because when they reunite, it's almost like the first time that they were together. That absence makes the heart and the body grow fonder. And people look forward to something and they enjoy it because it has a certain newness that they looked forward to. If something is always available, and if one spouse is always available, there's no newness. It becomes same old, same old. That's the problem with instant gratification. That's the problem with always giving into your wants and your desires. The Torah says take a step back and realize that part of the enjoyment of physicality is in fact not to do it all of the time. If you show restraint, then when you do come together, it'll be much more enjoyable. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.